The Globe and Mail has reported on what it says was a Chinese strategy to influence Canada's 2021 election. The report says China wanted the result to be a Liberal minority government. Meanwhile, a new poll is showing that the Conservatives now have an 8-point lead over the federal Liberals, and also the federal Liberals are losing support here in Quebec. Tom Mulcair joins us now. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Mitsumi.
So, Tom, I want to start with this new poll that was out, the Abacus poll. So 70% of the people polled think the country's headed in the wrong direction. Now, what does that tell you?
I think you've zeroed in on the key finding, because that's the hardest thing to turn around. When people have formed that sense that the country's going in the wrong direction, it's not a single speech or a promise to do one thing that can turn that around. It's a global sense. Mr. Trudeau has incredible political skills. Let's not kid ourselves about that. He's been elected 3 times, a rarity, even though the last 2 have been minorities. But I would dare say that people are starting to get an overarching sense of this government's incompetence. You can't get a passport in any reasonable delay. Your baggage will go missing if you take a flight. There's a strong chance of that. 3 of the 10 worst airports in the world coming out of the pandemic were right here in Canada. And, you know, if you're trying to bring in family members for a wedding, good luck getting a visa. Nothing's working in the immigration department. So Mr. Trudeau has tried to push forward his different ministers. He sends out his transport minister. He'll send out others. But people get the sense that they're not doing the job. Even on key issues like justice, what could have been easier than to say, well, we will actually take a reference case to the Supreme Court to question Bill 96, removing the equality of English and French before the courts here in Quebec, something that would have been a slam dunk. But David Lametti obviously is not allowed to do that, even though it cries out for a solution. Canadians are sensing that their government is not just going in the wrong direction, but can't handle the job of running the government. Mr. Trudeau does all the big stuff well. He travels internationally. He makes great speeches. People like him, understandably. But when he gets back to Canada, people say, well, why is nothing working? And that's where people are right now, and that's what shows in today's poll.
And I want to get to the numbers here in Quebec as well, Tom. So the appointment of the new advisor for the fight against Islamophobia, Bill C-13, that really seems to have benefited the Bloc, hasn't it?
Right, and it's pulling asunder some of the Liberal support, because the opposition to C-13 is very, very strong in the English-speaking community, because people know what it means. It could be a real danger, for example, by defining that there's one, and it's a demographic fact, but by concentrating on one linguistic minority, the French minority, across Canada, people are saying, what about the right of the English-speaking minority to control and manage its school boards? No reference in Section 23 to school boards. It's broader language than that, and it was put on school boards by interpretation. Will that interpretation change? That's the type of thing people are worried about. With regard to the naming of that person on the Islamophobia file, I've said now that she's apologized sincerely. She should be given a chance. But I do think it really stuck. It didn't go over at all with many people here in Quebec. So the Bloc is resurgent. Doesn't mean anything, by the way, Mitsumi. We're not in an election yet. But I do know that the back rooms of the Liberal Party right now are looking at a dashboard that's got nothing but red flashing lights, and they're trying to figure out what to do to take this thing back in the right direction.
I want to get to that Globe and Mail report about China trying to influence the 2021 federal elections. The government denying there was any influence. What do you think about all this?
Well, it doesn't make any sense for them to deny that there was any influence, because Mr. Trudeau made a thing about putting his index finger under the nose of the Chinese president, and he had his people spin that he had been giving him what for interfering in Canadian elections. So there's an obvious contradiction there. When he got back to Canada, who knows based on what, he completely changed his tune and started muttering that there was nothing. So that must have made some people in CSIS and elsewhere very frustrated, because they gave the Globe and Mail access. They showed them the internal documents where the government was warned that there had indeed been Chinese interference in a Canadian election, trying to get this one elected, that one defeated. Trudeau's answer is honestly so weak. He goes, well, it didn't change the result of the election. Maybe it would have been a minority anyway, Mitsumi, but that's not the issue. The issue is a foreign country interfering in our elections, and the answer is yes. And you knew about it, but you're still not coming clean. And the question is why? It's the same Justin Trudeau in answer to a question, what's your favorite country other than Canada? He famously said, China, because of its basic dictatorship. They can turn things around on a dime on issues like climate change. That was Justin Trudeau in a famous event where it was unplugged. It was supposed to be natural, and nobody had given him his lines. Well, I guess his handlers wish they had given him his lines, because that one's going to stick with him for a long time.
Okay. Thank you very much for this, Tom.
Good to be with you, Mitsumi.